The streets are talking. You are now listening to The Box Out, Tri-State area basketball talk at its best. And now your hosts, Kahlil Thomas and Jason Cordner. Let's get it.
From NJ to BKN, the world is The Box Out here on the OneCast Network YouTube. My name is Kahlil Thomas. Just Jason from Brooklyn, York. And I'm going to start with the Knicks. Tonight, a few minutes. We have all types of stuff happening. So a lot going on. We will get to all that. But since we are a local, we're local. Jason and I are both Knicks fans. Knicks over here, that way, somewhere. Knicks Garden, that way. Up top over here somewhere. They were eliminated on Friday night. We were going to do the show Sunday. I'm Jason's wifey, my wifey, so we couldn't do the show Sunday. It's now Tuesday. We're a few days removed from the Knicks being eliminated, and it took me a minute to kind of realize that, okay, they're out. The anger subsided. I feel content in the offseason. I know what we need to do, I think. I'm not as angry as I was Friday night, all day Saturday, all day Sunday. I'm not as angry as I was before. But I will say this. Here comes Bruce. Bruce, welcome to the show. You guys disappear like Julius Randle when he sees the playoffs. We did. Listen, I will admit, in my head, I thought, let me hit you up and have a show Friday night, right after the games are over. And I thought to myself, that ain't a good idea. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. But I will say this about the Knicks, right? We made it to the second round of the playoffs. We made strides. Still not good enough. And I'm going to put it out there right now. And I know people might disagree in the chat and Twitter, wherever, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. I think Julius Randle is the first move to be made for the Knicks. They need to move away from Julius Randle. People at work, people at home, they defend Julius Randle as if he's untouchable. And he's not. Julius Randle is not untouchable. Julius Randle is not. He's third team. Here's it. Once again, I'm angry again. Julius Randle made third team All-NBA. Meaning he's one of the top 15 players in the NBA. That's what that means. You made All-NBA third team. They're saying that Julius Randle is one of the top 15 players in the NBA. That's bullshit. I'll put it out there. It is. Meanwhile, Brunson can't make an All-Star team, can't make an All-NBA team, and he's the one who pretty much led everything. As I bring in Jason Cordner from Brooklyn, New York. Jay, what's up, bro?
What's going on? You good?
I'm good. I'm talking about the Knicks and how Julius Randle is supposedly one of the top 15 players in the NBA, and I think he needs the first one to fall on the sword and leave the Knicks. What do you think?
I agree with that, but I'm also having a hard time. I feel like when Brunson came on, it became Brunson's team. Like he took over leadership role of the team, and I think Randle is he's such a moody player. Like if he's not getting the ball, he's like, I don't want to say he reminds me of Carmelo because he's not Carmelo, but he's like super like needy, clingy. He's the clingy girlfriend you didn't want to marry. That's who Randle is, and I think we're at that point now. Like, okay, we have Brunson. We could build around Brunson. We have the point guard that we never had. Maybe not since Mark Jackson and Rod Strickland days. You can build around that. Now Randle becomes disposable. I told you before, I would trade Randle for a fat Zion and a personal trainer any day of the week.
Bruce in the chat always bringing that fire. Brianna Stewart can start over
Absolutely. She might put up better numbers. She might put up better numbers in the postseason this year with the Liberties than Randall did too. By the way,
it's just one of those things where, one person can mess up an environment for a whole team, for a group. If you're an athlete, you're at your job, you're in a group project which you're at work, and you have to work with other people. One person can mess it up for everybody, and I feel like in those huddles during timeouts, if a call doesn't go his way, if he's not hitting shots, he just his shoulders just slump, and he just like, oh, okay, I'm gonna, didn't make it. When you can make up for that on the defensive end, play a little harder on defense. Like, I feel like it's just what you're trying to build. He's not the guy because he just can't.
Not the guy.
He cannot emotionally handle it.
Well, that's the thing. I think emotionally he can't handle it, and you would think, this season it looked like his job got easier once Brunson came in. So, now he had a point guard that gave him the ball. He didn't have to bring up the ball. He didn't have to be so left-hand dominant. And yet he's still moody, I felt like the one clear advantage they had against Miami was him over their front court. And he got bullied, and it looked bad. And I think he could still be a third NBA player just somewhere else. I don't know if he can handle. I don't think the New York media and the fan base would be so lenient going into next season, let alone wait until the postseason for him to crumble. I think that's something that management might have to look at this summer. Like, hey, listen, we might want to ship him out of here now.
All right, so shout out to Kia Brenter checking in. What's up? Hi, Kia. How you doing? I say that's the first move you make. You get rid of Randall. Here's my question to you, though. Catch quickly and or Toppin and some picks, and can you use that package to get a legitimate person? Because I think the thought is if you package Randall and some of those picks you have.
I was going to say, let's not forget if Dallas don't fall in that, if somehow they sneak into like an 11th pick, that's the Knicks pick. So becomes an attractive little nugget they could dangle too. But I think everybody, the core, Grimes, Obi, everybody increased their value this season. So I think the Knicks definitely have pieces that other teams might be interested in, especially someone like Obi. Well, if you package Obi and Randall, or package them separately, those are two pieces you're gonna get back wholesome. I think with Randall, I think someone like Portland might take him. Like, if you're gonna give up Dame, they're gonna want an all-star back. So why not dangle, a top 15 player in the league, statistic wise, for Dame? And I think a backcourt of Dame and Brunson would do a havoc amongst the league. Or let's say Mitchell, he might start chirping that he wants out of Cleveland, which I'm starting to hear little rumbles like, he wasn't happy with his teammates in the postseason. Now you can dangle something at Cleveland or whatsoever. But I think there's going to be a plethora of disgruntled players. Embiid, we don't know. Giannis, we don't know. Not any new coaches. They might not like to move the direction both organizations make. So I think the Knicks are finally in a good position to negotiate with a lot of GMs around the league.
Earl Brown chimes in. So, Ja flash a gun, told Randall he better not win it. We'll get the Ja later, too, because I got a lot to say about Ja later. Listen, besides Randall, is there another move you would make, or do you think the team has it if you move Randall, and obviously you got to move other players with Randall if you try to package them? Is there something pressing that they have to do? Because my thought is not so much the players. I think it might be time to change coaches. Yeah, well, sign Hart, obviously. See, I think it's bigger than Tibbs. Listen, you got Nick Nurse. Doc Rivers is available. Not to get Doc Rivers. Like, you think, if worse came to worse, Mike Budenholzer has a ring. In spite of him, Milwaukee won. So you have options coach-wise. Tibbs is not a championship coach. I'm sorry. I've tried to, and you know this, I have my issues, especially with his rotations and how many minutes the guys play. And I have my issues with Tibbs. This is Tibbs can do for you. He could bring you to the second round easily. Monty Williams is available. Thanks, Earl. Tibbs can bring you to this point, but I don't think he can, he's an NBA championship coach. That's not Tom Thibodeau.
I think Tibbs is definitely, if he loses his job, it's an in-season firing. I don't think the Knicks management is going to let him go now. But if they start off real slow, like how they kind of start off slow this season, I think that's the only way he loses his job. I think, how many years he's been in now? 3 or 4?
I want to say 4. I think 4.
And he got them to the polls. He got them to the playoffs two of those 4. This time to the second round. I think his job is safe. It would have to take a major fumble in the season next year. Like, he's gonna have to look like the Mets right now for him to lose his job.
Why have to do that? Why would you have to bring that up for? That was unnecessary. that hurt me a little bit. That stung a little bit. We're about 4 minutes away from the draft. As Knicks fans, we're waiting to see where Dallas lands. If Dallas's pick in the lottery lands more than 10, we get the pick. Dallas, on some sucker shit, try to lose out and spite the Knicks, and hopefully it comes back to bite them. Which we'll get to the Western Conference Final preview in a second, but Lakers play in. Heat play. All these playing teams playing well.
Don't forget the Heat lost.
Listen, you got Luke.
Heat lost their spot. They should have played Boston.
Yeah.
They could have played Boston in the first round and avoided this whole matchup.
Mm-hmm. So for Dallas, they have to look silly now because you still got Luka Doncic, you still got Kyrie Irving. You could have played them, see what happens, see if you get into the play-in, see where the balls drop, and you can make it into. Let's be a play-in. It's not the playoffs. Mark Cuban has to probably not. He should feel silly about what he did to his team, and knowing that Jason Kidd probably hated it, Luka hated it. Who knows what Kyrie thinks? It's a bad look for the Maverick organization that you have 2 teams in this situation make it to the conference finals.
Absolutely, it's a terrible look, and I feel like maybe if this was to happen again, the league is probably going to hand down a heavier fine because it clearly works. The system works. Lakers, pretty much struggled all year. Same thing Miami. They didn't start getting their groove back till later on in the season where they finished 7th, but they lost that playing game to the Hawks. So this is why they're here. This is why both teams are here. I think the play-in tournament's here to stay. Kind of like how MLB expanded their playoffs, where we wouldn't have got the Phillies in the World Series last year. So you just never know. And I think, ironically, it's funny how both championship games are rematches of the bubble that people all the time want to say doesn't count. The bubble doesn't count. And then we look back a couple of years later, all those 4, the Final 4 back then are the Final 4 right now, which I think is very telling of the current climate of the NBA.
And speaking of the Final 4, Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals tonight at 8:30, Lakers at Nuggets. We'll get to that in a few minutes after we get through the draft lottery stuff. But real quick, the argument against Nikola Jokic winning his 3rd MVP, that argument looks really weak right now because your MVP flamed out Game 7 on Sunday against Boston. The real MVP, I'm saying the real. That's people saying he's still in it. And listen, the Lakers.
Nice story.
Bless their hearts. They are.
Nice run.
It stops here. Yeah, it completely stops here. We're getting to that a little bit later. Draft lottery. Besides Victor Wembanyama and Brandon Miller from Alabama, this draft ain't great. I'll be honest. This draft is not a great draft. It's more of a rotation draft. It's more of a depth draft. So where's the best place? And we talked about this weeks ago, but I think we're getting closer to it now. What's the best place for Victor Wembanyama to go that can help him become who he's gonna be? Because let's be honest, he's a better Porzingis. We talk about unicorns and Porzingis.
Mm-hmm.
Wembanyama is a unicorn. Where should he go that has the most success for him in the future?
I'm gonna say, I was gonna say Houston, but I'm gonna go with Pop. I think if this is Pop's last project, he goes to San Antonio. That Pop Becky Hammond combination, I think Pop will get him league ready within like 2 years. Like he could be the best player in the league within 2 years under the Pop tutelage.
Listen, I feel like they kind of cleared the deck when they got rid of Murray and said we're gonna start all over.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna tank. This is what we want because listen, foreign players are a thing. That's what San Antonio does, and they do it very, very well.
They do it the best.
To get a Victor Wembanyama on that team to build around. All right. Even when Tim Duncan came into the league, they still had David Robinson. They had Sean Elliott, Avery Johnson, Vinny Del Negro. Like the team was already set. Duncan was just an added. This is a luxury for San Antonio.
Yep.
This is a franchise mover. This is the guy that can really take your franchise from here to here within a year. I wouldn't even give him 2-3 years. I think the first year, that rookie year, you would set him from San Antonio quick no matter what. So I think you're right. I think San Antonio might be a good spot. I think Charlotte is a terrible spot. I'm hoping Charlotte ends up number one. They don't need any players. Detroit is pretty full right now. That's no bad spot. I'm just curious to see who gets this first.
My gut feeling is between. I think I want San Antonio to get it, but my gut feeling is I think it might go to Houston
or Orlando. Orlando is like a good spot too. Him and Paolo Banchero together just seems like. Oh, I need a hot take button. I gotta get a hot take button on this show. That was
Orlando's.
All right, here we go. Draft lottery underway.
Oh, really? It goes back to 14.
Right,
wow.
so the conditions: Chicago keeps their pick. All right, so New Orleans is 14. David Griffin looks pissed. 13 goes to the Toronto Raptors. They're gonna stink this year. Hey, Nick Nurse, one of the top coaches in the league. I don't understand it. 12, the OKC Thunder. They have like 800 picks in the next 10 years, so this don't mean nothing to them right now.
Come on, man.
11. Come on, Dallas. Damn, Orlando. Damn it. Okay. So Mark Cuban, it worked. Dallas keeps their top 10 pick. 10. I bet you it was Dallas.
Number one. Oh, that'll hurt everyone. Oh.
Dallas. It's Dallas. I knew it. Of course. Assholes. All right, number 9.
Hey.
Number 9 goes to Martino. We'll speed this up, guy. The Utah Jazz. Also with 20 picks in the next 2 years. Number 8 in the NBA draft lottery. The Washington Wizards. They're going to stink. Again. Poor Bradley Beal. 7 is Indiana Pacers. Once again, listen.
This is pretty much going top 2.
It is. 6, Orlando. So
wait, so that means the
6
Bulls
and 11.
The Bulls moved up.
Yep. Pistons are 5.
Ooh. The Bulls top 4.
Chicago's got the top 4 pick. Interesting.
And they almost made the playoffs. Wow.
Houston, San Antonio, Charlotte, Portland. One of those 4 teams will get the number 1 pick and win the Victor Wembanyama sweepstakes. Hopefully, not Charlotte. Fingers crossed.
If Portland gets him, does Dame stay? I think so.
If they get him,
Dame stays.
He has to. I feel like you can't at age 32 turn down an opportunity to play with this guy who you and him together, and with Simmons, and with Nurkic.
Well, technically,
they're in the playoffs.
Of the last 4 teams
they're in the playoffs next year.
Technically, with the last 4 up there on the board, except for maybe San Antonio, but even though it's not a bad situation because San Antonio, you're going to get an all-world coach, but the other 3 situations, you're going to get a good point guard to play with. So it's a good situation.
I think
I'm just curious to see. We're both agreed. Worst case scenario for Victor is Charlotte, correct?
Yeah, only because of the Jordan thing. But even though playing with ball might work wonders, but organization
best case San Antonio
situation, I think it's a bad fit organization wise.
Mm-hmm. So best fit. Charlotte bad fit. Portland interesting because I
think Portland's number 2
playoff
now.
team right away.
He goes to Portland. Phil Knight is going to throw everything he has at him to sign him to a Nike deal. He'll be the face of that region because they're desperately needing, a megastar to go along with Dame. I think that'll be playing wise. That'll be a great fit. It's only
and the other team is Houston.
Keep them away from nightlife and Harden coming back. They'll be all right. I'm kind of sold on these 4. I'm kind of sold on these 4 markets.
Bruce, Charlotte be number 1 because of the hate you guys giving Charlotte right now.
Jordan's gonna come out flashing this.
I know. We're jinxing this completely right now. I know it's gonna be Charlotte.
If Charlotte gets number 1, Jordan's gonna come out flashing.
Houston's the other team. I think. Oh, Jesus. Well, Houston's interesting too because we talk about a young rebuilding team. That's the antithesis of a rebuilding team, Houston. What a lot of guards, a lot of young guys. He's going to take playing time away from some of those young guys like Sengun. Does he work in Houston? I think there's too many young guys and there's not veterans, unless Harden's bench is not good for anybody. I feel like that's a bad fit as well. So San Antonio might be his last hope at this point.
So we're going to rank them real quick. San Antonio number 1, Portland number 2, Charlotte 3, and Houston 4.
Houston 3, Charlotte 4.
We stayed on
listen, I got to be honest. Charlotte is a dumpster fire. I've never seen someone besides Matt Millen in the NFL has GM of the Detroit Lions who used to play the game just be sucked at a front office job. Like you would think if you played and you had success, you would be good at evaluating and picking and signing. And Jordan, Washington, whether it was short, he has not shown once that he has any idea what the hell he's doing.
Well, shout out to Charlotte. Shout out to the Lions real quick for making a primetime opening week game for the first time ever. So that was a process that I think they're about to take off in the NFL, but that's a whole nother story.
Well, Bruce makes the point Jordan's not the GM. True. Mitch Kupchak is the GM. Jordan signs off on those decisions, though.
Oh, yeah.
Like at some point, there's some owners who are hands off. There's some owners who are like, I trust my guys. I don't imagine MJ's giving Mitch Kupchak full autonomy and saying, do you? No. He's in those meetings. He's getting the numbers. He's getting the players. He knows what's going on. Is that Brennan?
Here we go.
All right, Martin DK at podium. Number 4 in the NBA draft lottery goes to the Houston Rockets. Okay, so Rockets' 4th pick. That leaves San Antonio,
No
Charlotte,
strip club
and
for you.
Portland fighting for the number 1 spot. Portland gets number 3, so he's not going to the Pacific Northwest.
San Antonio.
Number 2 goes to the
Charlotte
Hornets. San Antonio wins the Victor Wembanyama sweepstakes. Congratulations, San Antonio.
Look
Greg
at that.
Popovich.
How does one franchise hit Robinson, Duncan?
You get one more.
Pops out there smoking a cigar somewhere.
Tony Parker. Listen, Pop's got another 3-4 years now. I think he went from having 1 or 2. He got 3 or 4 good ones left.
Absolutely. Look at this. Look at this. Right on brand. Robinson, then Duncan, and hey.
All right.
I think
so. Here's the question: do you think
that's spot for him?
Mm-hmm. Do you think Pop is calling him right now? I'm like, yo, let's get to work. Pop's already yelling at him. Right
absolutely, absolutely. Pop's on the phone.
All right. So number 1 pick goes to San Antonio. So they will be selecting unless something crazy happens between now and draft night. They will select.
You know what?
Once again, as well. Mm-hmm.
Pops never tanked. He never believed in tanking. But the moment he traded up Murray, we knew what time it was. He said, "I'm going to take all these L's for 1 year and 1 year only."
So Spurs, Hornets, Blazers, Rockets, Pistons, Magic, Pacers, Wizards, Jazz, Mavericks. Fuck y'all. Magic, Thunder, Raptors, Pelicans. That's your top 14 draft lottery.
Oh damn!
Standings.
They flew Wendy out to France. They flew Wendy to France.
Wendy's out here eating well. He's out here eating well this week. So here's my question now. And in the chat, Bruce mentioned Charlotte will probably pick Miller from Alabama.
Oh yeah.
Besides that, I don't. Maybe I'm wrong. I know I haven't done my prep yet. I know we do. Those who are new to the show, we do a live draft night special. We'll be on air for the first 2 hours of the draft. When we get tired, we usually quit. I don't see this draft being great. And this draft is not going to be the draft of, oh my God, you're going to get a steal at number 18. It ain't going to be that. I am curious about those overtime elite players that are coming out.
I think they're going to go out
because overtime elite
off the board early.
It's interesting because I know Book did a whole thing about them on his show, and essentially, it's not really about basketball. It's about branding and social media, and that's about it. I feel like the basketball is kind of secondary. You're at overtime elite to build a brand, so I'm curious to see how good these guys are coming out of elite over time, because I don't hear a lot about the basketball down there. I hear more about followers and they're making videos and blah, 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 blah. So I'm curious about that whole idea. And if it works.
But allegedly it works. We'll see.
All right. So draft lottery done. Now we move on to the real stuff. Conference finals, game 1, Lakers Nuggets. That's happening in about 10 minutes on the ESPN. Lakers story. It's been good. It's been awesome. It's going to come. I say Nuggets in 5. What are your thoughts?
Oh, I said 5. I think the Nuggets are going to win this series in 6. I think their depth is going to be too much for the Lakers to handle, and they actually have size. Something the Lakers have not had to deal with. They didn't have to worry about that with Memphis, with their bigs being hurt. And we all know Golden State. You know, once they got rid of Wiseman, that was a liability for them. So I think Jokic dominates Davis, and I think LeBron's going to put up a good series. But I think Nuggets going to take it at 6. I think Porter's going to have a good series. I think Porter's the X factor, because I don't think they have anybody that could deal with Porter or Murray long term throughout the game, because we never really seen the Lakers guards have to defend anyone other than a lukewarm Clay that in the last round.
Well, I think that's the issue too. I feel like so much emphasis put on how good Anthony Davis played in the last series. He's a rebounding machine. LeBron looks like he's like 5-6 years younger, and Reeves is hitting shots and doing the vein thing. I feel like, and we said it when the season started, and we said it as the season progressed. Even with all the trades, even with all the moves they made, the team is still flawed. There's still something missing from the Lakers that's not going to make them a contender. I think they've gotten good matchups in the playoffs. I think them getting Golden State when they got Golden State was a perfect matchup for them. They were a success because of matchups. I think this matchup obviously goes in the favor of Denver. Obviously, you got Jokic, you got Murray, then you got Bruce Brown, and then you got KCP, who was a Laker when they were in the bubble. So you have these pieces, and those ancillary pieces are the ones that's going to end up winning this game. The Lakers, sorry, Rui Hachimura is not an X factor. He's never going to be an X factor. I feel like the Nuggets X factors hold a lot more weight than the Lakers bench guys and reserve guys. So I think that's going to be the difference. Jokic is going to get his triple-double. Murray's going to get his 20 points. Aaron Gordon will get about 3 dunks a game and get his, 12 and 9.
What about Aaron Gordon?
It's the other, it's those other people that have been playing really well up to this point. And I think Bomani Jones, there's a lot of Bomani last couple of days. Denver just seems like they want it. And they want it for Jokic because there was such a stink about him winning the MVP again. So I feel like they're playing for him and saying, we're not going to let you lose because this is kind of your legacy. This is our way to give back to you, and for you to go to the critics and say, that's my award. You took it because you don't give it to me for a third straight year.
Oh, I got a hot take about that, but it ties into John Morant, so we'll get to that later.
Oh well, we get the job. So I said Nuggets in 5. You said Nuggets in 6. The Eastern Conference is more complicated because 8th seed Miami is not really an 8th seed. So the idea that they're 8 means nothing to me as a Knicks fan.
They know more.
They're like a 5
than the Knicks were in '99.
Exactly. They got Boston, who outlasted Philadelphia. Before we get to Boston and Miami, Philly fires Doc Rivers today, and B pretty much says, me and James can't win ourselves. Twofold question. One, is James Harden a Sixer next year? And 2, did Embiid really deserve that MVP, or was it a case of we have to give it to someone else besides Nikola Jokic?
It was definitely a case we have to give it to someone else. And I think I didn't like that comment he made because I feel like Maxey was carrying more weight all season than Harden was. Harden was good in spurts, but not great. And Harden, we hearing the rumbles about going back to Houston, but I'm not sure why would Houston want to insert him into that mess. And I'm also hearing rumbles about the Suns. Why would KD subject himself to Harden Part 3? That don't make sense either. So with that being said,
but here's the thing. But that wasn't all Harden though. Harden got pissed off at Kyrie. I think it was a case of Harden
who's probably in play to be moved again, and he might want to go there.
Yeah, I can't put the Harden Brooklyn thing on Harden. I think Harden just walked in the situation thinking it was better than where he was, and realized that it's not, because my man is not getting vaccinated. He's missing games. KD's always hurt. It ain't working. So I'm giving Harden the pass in Brooklyn. It's all Durant and it's all Kyrie. He's got a pass for me, a hard pass. But back to the real series. I don't know who's going to win. Who do you think is going to win this series? Who's going to win this series?
I think Boston will win.
I'm going to get your thoughts first.
Go Boston.
And how many games?
7. It's probably a 7.
Ooh. Okay.
Only because they got more dogs.
What, they beat.
If the Knicks had one more dog if they would have brought one more dog to the fight, they would have beat the Heat. Whereas Boston, I like Smart. I think he'll win his matchup. Tatum. I'm only saying 7 because I think who is your top 3 coaches in the league? Because Spoelstra is number 2 to me, and I think he's great at making adjustments. He's great at making teams have to really look at their weaknesses and hone in on it. And I think he will take he won't take Tatum out the game. He'll probably take Brown out the game. And that's where I think Boston still has that extra dog and Smart. And Horford's a smart player. I think that's why they will outwill a wounded Miami team who the Knicks should have really took it out, but Tibbs did not want to expand their rotation. That's a whole nother story.
All right. So I listened to what you said. You make a valid argument. Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna go with the team that beat our team. I think Philly showed a blueprint on how to defend and how to beat Boston last series. If Philly was a more complete team, Philly beats Boston game 6.
True.
I think Miami, while not complete, obviously Tyler Hero's missing and blah, blah, blah. You mentioned Eric Spoelstra. Spoelstra will make those adjustments that Doc Rivers would never make, that Tibbs didn't make, that other coach. I agree. And only because they beat us. Cutting us, that holds a little bit of weight, kind of obviously. But I think Jimmy Butler's playing for something. He wants to prove that they want to prove that the bubble wasn't a fluke, that they made it to the NBA Finals in the bubble, that it wasn't like a bubble finals run. I just think when you put up Boston's coach against Miami's coach, Spoelstra hasn't beat. Obviously, his first year. Mizzou's first year. The head coach.
Yeah. Spoelstra's going to run. Yeah, it's not going to be close.
Yeah. So Miami in 7. So you said Boston 7. I'm saying Miami in 7.
It's going to be a very good series.
Win the championship, I'm going to feel good about my life.
It's going to be a good series. So wait, so you're saying that? Are we both saying the two bubble?
You said Boston.
No, I'm saying so we're both
bubble with.
Okay, so I'm going with the bubble losers making the finals this time around, and you're going with Miami running it back to face Denver. Okay.
I think it's Denver, Miami, NBA Finals. I think Denver wins it. But according to Bruce, the NBA Celtics don't need to watch. So let's keep that in mind as well. Lakers Celtics could happen because the NBA wants that to go back to.
I can't see it.
I
can't see the Lakers beating Denver. I just can't see it. I can't see it. I don't even think Game 1's gonna be close.
I'm also waiting for Anthony Davis to get hurt.
I don't even think Game 1's gonna be close. I think Denver's gonna win this by like 15-20.
I'm also waiting for Anthony Davis to get hurt at some point tonight. Like roll his ankle,
might be first quarter,
fall oddly, something ball hit him in the head. I don't know.
That mile high air.
He's gonna miss a game, miss 2 games.
The mile high air might give him a concussion. You never know.
So that's Game 1, Nuggets Lakers. That's tonight. That starts I think now actually. So put the game on, put it on mute, have us on in the background. That's probably the best way to watch the game tonight. It's 9:00. WNBA season starts. Before we get started with any previews, we got to talk about the big news. Ionescu re-signs with the team long-term to 2025. How big is the signing for the Liberty?
Huge. The locks are in long-term. Letting her know, hey, listen, we're building a contender around you. I think she will eventually bring a championship to New York. And it's great to see the organization have faith in her. And then I'm glad they got this done now and not later on.
Here's my question, and this is gonna be weird. This is a weird question. This is one of those old school questions that we used to talk about LeBron for. The Liberty surrounded Sabrina Ionescu with Breanna Stewart, Jacquel Jones, Vandersloot. We know she's good. Sabrina Ionescu's been good since college. But does the fact that the Liberty built a quote unquote super team kind of tarnished just a little bit? Because
absolutely not.
They didn't really build around her. They just said, we're gonna go ahead and just get players that we know got experience, got rings, go get it. Does this kind of tarnish her a little bit?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. they see the jewel that she is, so they made sure they filled out the roster accordingly, and it's kind of, what it reminds me of? It's kind of what the Knicks should have did when we had Porzingis, where they didn't do a good service building the roster around him. I think the Liberty's doing that. Shout out to Dee Richardson. She's I think they waived her today, so I'm not happy about that. But hey, but I think the Liberty is fine. I think building around Sabrina is great.
Sandy didn't play her.
He did, yeah, right. At
Sandy
all.
didn't play Dee Richards for some reason last year.
Right.
Like the last month of the season, Sandy Bondello did not want to play Dee Richards, which is weird because the one thing that Liberty struggled with was rebounding and size.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, they had one to bring the play. Obviously, but Nigel Lane is not an inside player; she's more of an outside player. So you really didn't have that size that you had on the bench in Dee Richards, and they just let her go. So they don't need her, obviously, right now. but we did. That's me. Bruce already talking shit. We got to repeat how Candace Parker, Asia Wilson, Story, John Cole Jones, and Brianna Stewart. They played a preseason game last week. Aces won. It's preseason. Who gives a shit? No one cares about preseason games. What? Sorry. I'm going to destroy something I ask you. That's what Bruce believes. So we look at the season, right? And I think everyone's looking Aces Liberty final. That's what's kind of everything's aiming for.
Right.
Is it going to be that easy for both of those teams, or is it going to be okay? This is going to be kind of a horse race, and maybe one slip up from these teams, somebody else can jump in, or is it like a done deal? We're going to get Liberty Aces no matter what.
I think we're in a collision course, but a slip up injury could derail that, and then a Connecticut might come in the fray, or that's about it. That's it. I don't see anyone else. I want to say Connecticut's like tier 2, like right below them, and that's it. I think it's a clear cut Liberty Aces march to the finals. Only team that can cause any hiccups is probably the Connecticut Suns, and that's it.
I think Connecticut trading Jones kind of hurts them. I think that was a star player. That's what they kind of leaned on. They take a step back. I felt good about them last year, and they kind of underachieved. So I'm sketchy. Here's my issue with the Aces, and this is what happened. It was announced actually today. Becky had first game, and they violated league rules regarding impermissible player benefits and workplace. Tell promises of impermissible benefits during the extension negotiations for a hand. Hannah misses 2 games. I don't know what's happening in Vegas. Mark Davis probably on charge. Does that affect them a little bit, or do you think this is just a blip?
All over reputation now. It don't affect them too much. Not at all.
I mean, wait, what happened? Like, what are we doing? I don't even know any of this. The other team I'm curious about is Dallas, because I've been talking about how young Dallas has been for years, and Dallas just seems infinitely young every single year. They just get younger. They had a really good draft. They had a couple players from last year on. You have a little bit of continuity. You have the players that's been there for a year or two with the new players. I feel like Dallas is the one team that can actually make a huge jump. I think this is the year Phoenix falls down, and I think Dallas kind of leapfrogs Phoenix. What do you think?
Okay, I can see that. I feel like Phoenix is going to have the moral empathy from everybody with Brittany Griner. So I think that's probably going to propel them to have a good season. But like you're right, I can see Dallas eclipsing them. But I think Phoenix is going to come out the gate hot.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see Phoenix and like obviously with Griner, you're not gonna play Griner, 30 minutes first couple weeks. So you
No.
gotta kind of get her see how kind of Griner, how they kind of play her, how they treat her, what they do, and then they're probably gonna have kind of her feet underneath her and feel more normal. I feel like it's hard to kind of empathize what she's going through because she was in a Russian prison for like 9 months. So there's got to be an adjustment period for her right now. Still, even her being home as long as she's been home already, she still has to be adjusting to what's going on. Especially now, you're playing competitive basketball again, and thousands of people looking at you. More eyes going to be on you now because they want to see how you do. Because they're not against you; they're rooting for you. They want you to do well. So you see how she kind of reacts to all this.
It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting, but I think she'll do well.
All right. So Bruce, no, it's lagging a little bit. I don't know. Internet. That's all I got to say about that. It's the internet. The big story over the weekend: John Morant, IG Live, another gun. The Grizzlies suspended him from team activities, which I don't know what that means. Like,
what does that mean?
The pickup games over.
He's supposed to be in Cancun.
Yeah, he can't play pickup games in the facility, or he can't go take free Gatorades when he wants to. I don't know what that means. He's not getting paid. Like, the season's over. I'm gonna put this up so you can see it right now. Hold on. Do you see that?
Who should be coming? First of all, real talk. The NRA should be they should be wrapping their arms around this guy, but that's a whole other story.
Well, the conversations turned into, well, Tennessee has an open carry law, and it's a Second Amendment rights. Bomani Jones once again said he is a black man in America. He should not be out here flashing guns at any point, day, night, season, whatever. I think this is a bigger issue. And I feel like those 2 weeks he took off to go to that bullshit counseling.
The joke
was like he needed more than 2 weeks to figure his shit out. Those 2 weeks for him, just go home, go to some classes. They're probably virtual. I didn't go nowhere. And just chill out and come back when this dies out because Memphis needs you, Dad needs you, homies need you. You go back out there and play. I think there's a bigger issue at hand here that no one's talking about. That honestly, I think Jalen could have been into it more. I think this is where John Lucas would come in and talk to him. This is where people and going to talk to him. Someone needs to talk to him about what he's doing.
He's very lucky. He's very lucky. It's not David
Stern's comments. Antonio Brown wasn't fucking around.
Yep. I think what's going to happen.
Antonio Brown thing is going to mess him up badly.
But you know what's messed up? And this goes by what I was saying earlier about Jokic. What everyone's forgetting about this is that he's an American player. And the league has become dominant. It's become foreign dominant. Where we got Jokic, we got Embiid. We just saw it. We all know who number one pick's going to be. He's from France. You got all these foreign players, Luka, all these guys. The NBA tried to rally around Ja, especially after Zion kind of fizzled out a little bit. They try to rally around him to be like the next face of the NBA. Because, LeBron and Curry, they're getting older. They're getting longer too. And I think the NBA did a bad job. They should have came down a lot harder instead of the 8-game suspension. They should have shut them down for the season, for the rest of the season, and let them reassess the beginning of this season. Now, clearly that 8 games didn't work. I think now you might have to suspend them half the season or maybe the full season next year without pay because yes, you can walk around with a gun. It's a legal state, whatever. But morally, it looks bad. Optically, it looks horrible. and you out here strapped, you're kind of inviting people to be like, okay, we're gonna test you to see if you're really about this gunplay action. So I feel like he's looking at the barrel of a bad situation where someone's gonna test his craziness. And remember the story that happened with the pickup game where he pulled out a gun on a teenager. At first, you probably didn't believe it, but now the way he's acting, you're gonna believe that. He's absolutely he'll probably do that. So now that's something he's got to worry about. I just feel like his entourage, he needs to like get rid of everybody, and I think it's not even a Memphis issue. I think the league has to come down heavy on him just to set the example going forward.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those things that you suspend for half the season and go, you cannot come back until we have it in writing that you completed a program, extensive program. You went somewhere, you talked to legitimate people, not figure it out, and you get a random doctor to say, yeah, you completed 6 hours and blah, 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 blah. There's something bigger. And people think that this is a cry for help, that maybe he's stressed out. People say he drinks a lot, hangs out with his people. And obviously, you with your people. You with your people, they're not going to tell you that you messing up, you got to stop. They like, you on. Go ahead, Jock. Okay. Maybe it's time to clean that up a little bit. That's time for you got to clean your friend circle up. I go on my Facebook every few months and start cleaning it out. It's like, I don't need to talk to half these people. So I'm going to get rid of them. Maybe it's time for him to kind of sit and really think like, okay, maybe I shouldn't have my boy who can't come to any more games because my man's shooting laser lights at buses. Like, maybe I shouldn't be hit with him no more. This is the maturity thing. This is when you get young and make a lot of money, you do some stupid shit. And I think this is the antithesis, I use that word again, second time tonight, of some stupid shit. And he keeps getting in trouble about it.
I feel like this would have happened if he was like on a more veteran-led team. Like, imagine with Adonis Haslam as his teammate. He would have probably been at his crib right now, beating the crap out of him and taking his guns away, just to prove a point.
And we talked about this during the trade deadline, how they didn't make a move to bring in a vet. The only vet they have is Steven Adams. That's all they had. I'm like, you need another body. You need someone, like you said, like a Haslam. Iguodala was supposed to, was it there? OKC. Iguodala got traded.
OKC, I think it was OKC. He didn't want to play. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So someone like Andre Iguodala, someone like that with some cachet, some statesman time. Like, all right, we're gonna listen to you because you got rings, you know what you're doing. And Iguodala will mess you up if he needs to. You need guys like you said. A Haslam will muscle you up if you mess up. Doesn't matter. He gets no playing time. This is what happens. Grizzlies had Jermichael Green, traded him. Didn't work. So this is a lot of issues with not just about the they have to figure out him without pay and sending him away. It's about getting him help too and making sure that long term he's good and not just short term for the team because they want to win and for the NBA because he's a big name that they need to market this. Nike's on his back, Powerad's on his back, Memphis is on his back. Like, you got to think bigger than just he's a ball player and we need him to win. And that's what it's right.
How long do you think he's going to get suspended?
Let's say about between 30 and 40, I think, probably.
So you're looking at half.
Adam Silver. Yeah, I think Adam Silver, unlike his predecessor, he's going to be like, you need help. Because he said it. He said players just seem unhappy. He knows what the deal is. These guys are unhappy. A lot of these guys are stressed out, poor people, and blah, blah, blah. He's going to get help. If I'm going to play my league, you have to make sure that you're straight. And if you're not coming in here. And sidebar, because I was home today, my daughter, she was sick, and I made the mistake of watching First Take. First of all, what does Stephen A. Smith stand for? Because I don't know. I've never seen a man that can take any topic, any situation, and both sides it perfectly, like Stephen A. Smith can do. It is part impressive, part infuriating how much you can take a topic and just go both sides and not actually pick a side, but just say some dumb shit about both. I'm like, I'm done. And then jump on somebody else.
I thought you was gonna be like, how could he continuously flirt with his co-host, knowing that he's working with the co-host's ex-husband? But that's a whole nother story.
Molly don't want none of that. Molly's, I'm good. I'm good. But it's like, it's one of those things where it's like the John Morant thing. He talks about, he needs help, it's not going on. And he's like, well, but then Tennessee can carry a gun. I'm like, okay, what is it? Is it his Second Amendment rights you're worried about? Or is it the fact that he needs help and you won't really care about whether he has the gun? I don't know where he stands. And secondly, because we've been on for a while, I don't ever want to see Stephen A. Smith talk about the Knicks ever again. Ever. He's the most fugazi fan I've ever seen in my life. You ride or die with your team. You're a Knicks fan, I'm a Knicks fan. We ride or die with our teams. I'm a Met fan. They're down 6-1 right now. I'm depressed inside right now. It's going to hurt when I turn that game on when we're done.
Oh,
I've never seen someone shit on the team and then when they win, become the biggest fan in the world. I'm happy I got a day job, so I'm not tempted to watch this shit every day. If I was home every day, I would lose my shit. I'm pretty sure I would lose. I will lose it.
Between him and it's pretty brutal. It's pretty brutal.
And then my dad made a good point. He's like, can we get new people? Can they rotate some new faces? Because he's like, obviously I'm tired of Steven. I'm tired of JJ. I'm tired of Jay Williams. My dad made a good point. He's like, Jay Williams talking shit about Ja. Didn't Jay Williams' career end when he was on a damn motorcycle? I'm like, yeah, good point. So he messed up too. I'm like,
good point.
Valid point, Dad. Valid point. So listen, I'm gonna leave it there. Jay, as always, great show, bro.
Likewise.
So obviously, Jason, he's busy. I'm busy. Our show live will now be on Sundays. That gives us time to recover. That gives us time to relax.
Yes. We
did like 5.5 years. Our lives are a lot more hectic than they were 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
Yep.
So Sundays, it is the Lord's Day, but it's also the night of box out. So when you think of God, think of us. Think of God mode. Don't think about Roman Reigns. Think about us. Think about us. All right. So Sunday, 8 p.m. It's our new day, our new time. Well, same time. Sunday's live. So this Sunday, we'll be back this Sunday, 8 p.m. here on the One Podcast Network YouTube channel. Hopefully these games are good. Hopefully Lakers get blown up tonight so I can see LeBron with his post-game press conference. Those are impressive. So that's it for us here. Stay tuned. One Podcast Network YouTube. We're filling things up. I'm still editing a few things. It'll start populating this weekend. You'll see more comedy shows. Jason and I have a wrestling show. We're bringing that back. We're trying to figure it. I'm trying to figure out how to do this. So that's going to happen as well. So stay tuned. For Jay, thanks for watching. We'll see you Sunday night, 8 p.m. here on YouTube. Peace.